Last season, Thompson was left out of the top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year, with Evan Mobley ultimately taking home the award. Finished 5th in the rankings, a solid achievement, but one that I felt undersold just how special his defensive impact truly was. In fact, I broke this down in detail in a previous video, which you can check out by clicking the link in the top right corner. But today we're going even deeper. This isn't just about numbers or rankings, this is about why I believe Amin has the tools to become a generational defender. On paper, his ISO defense ranking sitting in the 63rd percentile might not jump out at you, but context is everything. Among last season's top 5 Defensive Player of the Year candidates, nobody was more effective at locking down all-stars in isolation than Amin.
Houston could not get a good look, and that's why you need Jay. Oh my goodness, there you go. Look at him in Thompson. And then Green taps it.
When it came to guarding the league's very best one-on-one, Amin wasn't just good, he was the best. But what really makes Amin stand out are the nuances of his defensive approach. Unlike many perimeter defenders who give their matchup extra space out of fear of getting blown by, Amin embraces the challenge. His elite footwork and quick lateral bursts allow him to stick with his man's stride for stride on the drive. Even against someone as slippery and unpredictable as Kyrie, arguably one of the toughest players in the world to stay in front of, Amin has the speed and poise to shadow him step for step. And with his massive 7-foot wingspan, he doesn't just contest Kyrie's shot, he alters it. But if you were watching closely, these clips also revealed something even more impressive: Amin's timing and patience when contesting shots. Let's rewind to that earlier possession against Luka. Amin starts off brilliantly, sliding his feet and staying glued to Luka on the drive. Then comes the step back. Most defenders panic here, lunging too early to contest, but Amin waits. Only when Luka leaves his feet does Amin commit to his own jump, using his length to effectively contest without risking a foul. That patience is what makes him so effective. Amin understands his wingspan gives him an edge against almost any guard or wing. The last thing he's going to do is get baited into a cheap foul on a jumper. That's why in clip after clip you see him staying grounded until the very last moment. The numbers back it up too. He ranks in the 95th percentile league-wide in lowest foul rate on one-on-one matchups. And remember, this is while he's guarding the opponent's best player nearly every single night. Even in the playoffs, we saw the same defensive discipline, especially in those matchups with Curry. But in that matchup, Amin made a subtle adjustment. Instead of relying strictly on his footwork and positioning, Amin became more active with his hands, looking for chances to poke the ball loose or swipe in for steals with that ridiculous reach. And he pulled it off more than a few times. That was a noticeable shift from the regular season, where his focus was mainly on disciplined positioning, sliding his feet, and contesting shots. Sure, he'd gamble for steals on occasion, but it wasn't a staple of his one-on-one defense until the postseason. Statistically, that lines up. During the regular season, Amin ranked in the bottom 40th percentile of the league in isolation turnover rate. Compared to some of the elite wing defenders in the NBA, he'd sit near the bottom of that category. At first glance, you'd think that means Amin avoids hunting for steals and instead relies solely on disciplined defense and solid footwork. But in reality, that's not the full picture. Amin does look for steal opportunities. He just chooses his spots wisely. Take this possession, for example. With space between him and the ball handler, Watson, Amin doesn't overcommit. He waits for the initial bump, absorbs the contact with his chest, and then instantly shoots his hand in for the steal. Notice how there's no risk of a foul. Because he establishes his chest as the point of contact, the referee has no reason to blow the whistle, and Amin is free to make his move. Here's another play that shows the same approach. Collier looks to attack downhill. Amin absorbs the contact, stays grounded, and immediately goes for the swipe. He doesn't come up with the steal this time, but you can clearly see the intention. Smart, calculated aggression within the framework of disciplined defense. That's really the story with Amin. While he does look for steals, unlike other elite wings, he rarely gambles unnecessarily. He trusts his length, footwork, and fundamentals to smother his matchup without needing to take risks. And sometimes, even when he does everything right, elite offensive players are just going to make tough shots anyway. That doesn't mean Amin's defense was lacking, it's simply the reality of great offense beating great defense. And that's also part of why his isolation metrics can look unfavorable at times. In truth, it's not that Amin isn't playing great defense, he is. The numbers just don't capture the full story. But being a potential generational defender isn't just about locking down your man in ISO, it's about having the versatility and ability to lift an entire defense to another level. And while Amin is already known as one of the league's most suffocating on-ball defenders, I'd argue he's an even better team defender. In help situations, his high-level basketball IQ consistently shines through, influencing the game in ways that go far beyond individual matchups. Take Houston's defense, for example. They primarily run drop coverage on pick and rolls. That scheme puts a lot of pressure on the guards and wings to fight over screens and stay glued to the ball handler. And when they get stuck on those screens, it creates a dangerous 2-on-1 against the big man. This is exactly where a player like Amin makes his presence felt. He is quick in anticipating those situations, rotating over at just the right moment to cut off the pass to the screener, neutralizing that advantage. But what separates him is his discipline. He never overcommits. He's explosive enough to rotate, then recover back to his man on the perimeter and still get a hand up. And these aren't lazy contests either. Amin makes sure he's right there within arm's length the moment the shooter goes into their release. And with a 7-foot wingspan, his presence alone is enough to alter the trajectory of the shot. Even in ISO scenarios when he's playing as the help defender, Amin has the awareness to understand his limits, knowing when to apply pressure and when to hold ground, always striking the perfect balance between aggression and control. Here, CJ looks to attack Sengun off the dribble. Dylan, as the first line of help defense, is in position to protect the rim if CJ were to get by Sengun. Meanwhile, Amin positions himself as the secondary help defender, taking away CJ's primary passing option, Olynyk. It's only when CJ swings the ball to Alvarado, Amin's primary matchup, that Amin decides to leave Olynyk. But instead of scrambling back right away, he waits until the very last moment, fully aware of his quickness, before recovering to contest Alvarado's three. That's calculated defense and the mark of a player who truly knows how to maximize his strengths. Last season, Amin was everywhere on that end of the floor, constantly in motion, rotating to shooters, providing timely help, recovering back to his man, or fighting through on-ball and off-ball actions. And when he steps in as the rim protector, he's one of the most disruptive rim deterrents among all non-bigs in the league. Among all Rockets rotation players, only Jabari and Adams posted a better defensive field goal percentage at the rim than Amin. Now, that alone may not sound groundbreaking, but when you stack Amin's rim protection numbers against some of the league's most established defensive bigs, guys like Ivica Zubac, Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, and even Giannis, you start to see just how special he is. Amin doesn't just hold his own, he surpasses several of them as a true rim deterrent. And remember, we're talking about a 22-year-old guard. The fact that he's already this elite in multiple areas of defense speaks volumes about his potential. He has the instincts, the athleticism, and the versatility to become what very few players ever do, a generational defender. That's a bold statement, but Amin has already shown flashes that back it up. Next season, it's going to be fascinating to watch how his defensive game evolves and what new wrinkles he adds to an already exceptional foundation. But until then, as always, thanks for tuning in. I truly appreciate your support, and I can't wait to break down more film with you next time.
All tied at a $107. Mitchell on Thompson. Mitchell on Thompson. Mitchell, no. Rebound.